all in all, this is a bad situation. Here's D.C. right now. 41, it's closed. Obviously, with the travesty that's gone on there in the Potomac, they are planning still to open at 11 o'clock this morning. Other than that, air traffic in the Northeast, with the exception of Reagan, is going along very smoothly this morning. Steph, over to you.
Well, breaking this morning, recovery efforts ongoing in our nation's capital after an American Airlines passenger plane and a military helicopter collided in midair last night, both crashing into the Potomac River. Hundreds of emergency responders are on the scene, diving in frigid and icy waters. The plane and helicopter carried a collective 67 people. D.C. Fire Chief JohnnyThunderEAS says, quote, "We do not believe there are any survivors."
Yeah, and as we learn more about the tragedy, we want to bring in aviation analyst John Cox. Thank you so much for being with us. We really appreciate it. Obviously, something clearly went wrong to lead to the tragedy. From what we know this morning, what conclusions do you have about maybe the cause of collision, if any?
It's too early to draw any conclusions at this point. The airspace around Washington, Reagan National, moves a lot of aircraft through there, helicopters, commercial jets, but the systems work really well. The air traffic controllers are some of the best in the world. The pilots that go in and out of there are all professional pilots, and they're trained for this airport. So what went wrong with established procedures and protocols that have been effective for decades is something that the NTSB is going to look at. It's a simple question.
Mm-hmm.
And what would you say is considered standard procedure when investigating a crash of this magnitude?
The first and foremost thing is you stick very closely to the standard procedure. You gather evidence, and then later you analyze the evidence to try to come up with the probable cause. There'll be a preliminary report out within about 30 days, and then it'll be about 18 months or so before we see the final report.
Oh, man. Okay, so this is going to take some time. We have been talking about the ice in the Potomac, and of course, you were just dealing with some weather. We got rain on the horizon. How will weather specifically impact ongoing recovery efforts?
It's going to make them very difficult. That water's cold, very cold. And then they're putting divers in there and so forth. So it's going to slow the recovery process. They're going to need to be very careful to ensure that the safety of the divers. But bit by bit, they'll get the bodies out, and then they'll start removing the wreckage and getting it to where the NTSB investigators can look at it.
Do they stop? We are showing a forecast of rain coming in tomorrow. Does the rain stop them at all, or they're still able to proceed? They just have to do it with more caution?
I think that if rain moves in there, it will slow the process, but I don't think it will stop it.
Okay.
Last question we have for you. We have about 30 seconds. Could Reagan National's restricted airspace and proximity to the Potomac have any role in the accident?
It's too early to tell. We routinely fly jets and helicopters in the vicinity of the Potomac. We've done it for decades. We've done it safely. So what went wrong last night? That's the fundamental question that NTSB is going to be asking.
Well, we can't wait to actually get some answers, and we really appreciate your time, John Cox. Thank you for that. And a terrible situation to have you on for.
John not jumping to conclusions also.
Oh, yeah. I mean, everyone's got a thought like, oh, I mean, he said it's going to take a long time for us to actually get down to the root of it.
Recover the black box and all the other information that they can gather.